Welcome to this advanced practice in taking responsibility for one's life and cultivating compassion. Here, we use principles of Buddhist Tantra and Hawaiian Ho'oponopono as a means to engage in self-liberating shadow work. For those who have listened to this introduction before, or who need no introduction, the meditation begins at 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Let's begin with some definitions. First of all, what is Tantra? Buddhist Tantra originated in the Vajrayana tradition. It's an energy-based science which aims to realize the ultimate nature of reality. It is a form of alchemy or transmutation of energy that recognizes that everything is connected and equal. It is based on the idea that our suffering arises from our misapprehension of reality and can involve the use of rituals, visualizations, and mantras. Shadow work is a complementary practice which involves the acceptance of our faults and weaknesses and the healing of our psychological wounding. This can be both challenging and painful. It requires a certain level of spiritual maturity. If you're drawn to this meditation, one can assume that you've taken responsibility for your projections and are working through any sense of victimhood you may have carried in the past. When it comes to shadow work, there's always work to be done, and new figures are always appearing in our personal lives and on the world stage to reveal to us our unhealed aspects of self. We assign these roles to others to play out aspects of our shadow so we can see it. I'd like to make a distinction here, as often we hear that the things that annoy us about another are what we reject in ourselves. This implication is that if you are annoyed by narcissism or deceit or procrastination in another, it somehow means you are a narcissist or a liar or a procrastinator also. Maybe, but maybe not. Rather, think of the mirroring as something that you have the potential to do or be also, in different circumstances and under different conditions. In other words, we recognize that we're all human and we're all doing the best we can. Today, we'll work with your choice of a personal life or public life figure. If this is your first time doing this work, you might find it easier to begin with a personal figure rather than someone representing a larger-than-life archetype on the global stage. But you choose. Through this work, rather than perpetuating the need for your figure to continue to live out externally whatever it is you need to see or confront within, we take that energy back in and transform it within ourselves, which can give us new insights and help us generate more compassion. And externally, this work can actually significantly change our feelings and interactions with others. Just briefly, I want to touch upon the Hawaiian practice of Ho'oponopono. This will provide a useful structure for our meditation today through its 4 statements or mantras. If you aren't familiar with the statements, don't worry. Rather than introduce them to you now, I'll guide you throughout the meditation. It's natural for all kinds of emotions to arise as we do this work, so create a safe space for that. You might also want to have tissues handy. So find a comfortable position in which you can easily keep your back straight and relax. Close your eyes and settle in as you draw your awareness to your lower body and how it connects with the floor or chair or whatever surface is beneath you. Release any tension in your hips, legs, and feet. Surrender to gravity through the lower body. And as you do this, notice and allow any tension to melt away and downward. Now becoming aware of the spine from the tailbone, following along the natural curves, right up to the neck and out the crown of your head. Allow your awareness to notice both the grounding through the lower body and that simultaneous rising of energy through the upper body. Relax your shoulders, your jaw, your belly. Notice now your breath. Check in, and if you are breathing more into your chest, see if you can easily invite a deeper belly breath. If you discover there's excess tension in the body, take a few cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, exhaling to the very bottom of the breath. And then return to a natural rhythm of breath and bring to mind the person you've decided to work with during this meditation. Notice your bodily response or any other effects that thinking of this person brings up. Perhaps a clenching of the gut or a mental judgment. Or if nothing comes up in the moment, recall what it is about this figure that made you choose them. Don't censor in any way, and don't be afraid to see what is true for you on the personal level, as this is the energy with which we will fuel our practice. Identify some of the reasons you have difficulty with this person. Maybe you see them as narcissistic, or arrogant, or psychopathic, or evil. Or maybe it's simply that they are selfish, or incapable of love, or just ignorant. As you imagine this figure, repeat the phrase out loud or to yourself, the first of the Ho'oponopono phrases, I'm sorry. Now, you may be thinking, wait, what do I have to be sorry for? They did this or that to me. But let's take responsibility for our projection and assigning these people a role so that we could see what needs to be healed in ourselves. You can personalize the languaging in any way you choose. For example, you could say, I'm sorry that I projected upon you so much darkness and evil. Or, I'm sorry I project onto you all of my fears about such and such. It can be enough, if this is your first time, to simply stay with I'm sorry and notice the hooks and discomfort, lack of readiness, or feelings of inauthenticity with the phrase, and to be okay with that. It too is part of the process. I can give you examples, but the languaging has to be authentic to you. In fact, if it comes out sarcastic, such as, I'm sorry, you're such a jerk, that's also okay, and it's part of the process as long as you realize where the charge is. I'm now going to give you some space and time to work with I'm sorry. Our second phrase is please forgive me. Now again, you might think, wait, what do I have to be forgiven for? Notice rationalization or resistance. Ask for forgiveness for making them play this role in your life. And if it goes in an unexpected direction, allow that. For example, please forgive me for not recognizing how much pain you must be in to have these behaviors. Or, please forgive us for making you hold this painful archetype for the whole world. Notice I went from forgive me to forgive us in that last example. And this is likely to happen with a world figure. So just allow the spontaneous unfolding of the practice. Forgive me for not dealing with the anger, hatred, and hypocrisy within myself. Or forgive me for being in denial of my own capacity for darkness. Make sure you're breathing and aware of your body and breath. I'll give you some space here to work with please forgive me. Now at this point, let's take a deep cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let all that arose go. Our next phrase is I love you. This too can be very challenging. So notice and be curious about your response. Where do you feel resistance or doubt? Are you willing to let go of that in favor of a higher truth? And again, maybe you're ready and maybe you're not, and accepting that is part of the work. At some point, maybe you'll be able to work with this person again, but we can't force it. Love the soul of that person, or their hurt inner child, or the divinity in them, whether they are able to express that quality or not. You can also be free with your languaging here, such as, I love the truth of your being, or I love your pure soul, or I love the God in you, even if you're incapable of expressing that love. I recognize the truth of who you are, and that you're simply playing a role. Again, I'll give you some space to practice around I love you. Our final phrase is thank you. If you've made it this far, then you probably feel a little less resistance already. If there is some, then you know just to watch how it manifests and be curious about it. Again, here you can keep things very simple or add more words such as, "Thank you for helping me to see what I needed to see, to heal and be free." Or, "Thank you for holding what needed to be held up to the light. Thank you for taking a role no one in their right mind would have accepted or wanted. Thank you for your service." And once more, I'll give you some time and space around the practice of thank you. Okay, now please wrap your arms around yourself and self-hug. You can rock a little side to side if you wish. Acknowledge yourself for being willing to do this heavy emotional work and comfort yourself. Feel the reassurance of your own arms as they give and you receive their love and affection. You can both give and receive your own love. As you hug yourself, take a few deep breaths, again letting go of the practice and anything that it may have brought up for you. Empty and clear. Let us now bring our hands into prayer pose at the heart and dedicate this practice to the attainment of the most supreme and sublime enlightened mind for the benefit of all beings. May we come to understand how we cause our own suffering and be free. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, Shanti. Now, you might want to splash your face with cool water before you go about your day, or perhaps do a few light stretches. And be sure to be open to seeing a change in your feelings towards and interactions with your chosen figure. I congratulate and thank you for your work. That ends this meditation.